Welcome back to the garage. Today we're getting that installed. We're getting more crap off the floor. I say crap, it's all brand new stuff. But anyway, that is my gas tank. It's going to go in that hole right there. So got my sending unit wire all ran. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to put some strip caulk all the way around the edge there, which I have been chilling in our freezer. Don't tell my wife, because otherwise it gets to be a goopy mess because it's 90 degrees out. But it should be a pretty straightforward install. All right, so we'll strip caulk right around there. In fact, I might actually just put it on the bottom of the tank itself. Tank drops in, gets bolted in. Filler goes there, boom, Bob's your uncle, job done. So let's get to stripping or caulking or strip caulking. All right, for those of you that don't know what strip caulk is, there are a couple different brands. I ended up getting the 3M strip caulk, misspelled, part number 08578. And what it is a goopy, gross mess, but they're literally strips of, let me see if I can get you a better angler here. It's all jacked up, but they're strips of caulk, literally. Doesn't harden, seals really well. You've heard me say probably, what, 3 or 4 times now that it is a goopy, gross mess, and that is true. What I've found to help keep it from sticking to my fingers, though, is just using some of this Gojo goof off. I use Zep, just because it happens to be handy. But some citrus degreaser. I spray that on my hands, and the strip caulk does not stick to my fingers, but it does stick to the substrate. So I'm gonna get all greased up and toss some strip caulk on right up here. We're gonna do all the way around. I'm going to make it a point of putting the strip caulk over the holes where the bolts go that actually hold the gas tank in. That way it's as sealed as possible. That's it. Do that all the way around. All right, so we got the strip caulk in. Next up, what we need to do is install the fuel sending unit. So I bought a kit from CJ Pony Parts. This is one of their CJ Classics. Part numbers Foxtrot Sierra Uniform 28. One thing that you want to do before installing this is, test it. And so how this works is, right, this goes in the tank. This is your little float right here. That's empty, and when the fuel in the tank fills, that float literally floats up. That reads as full. Pretty straightforward. You have your fuel pickup here with a little sock on it. This goes out to the fuel pump, and Bob's your uncle. That is how fueling happens. So what you want to do is, I don't know if you can see, right? I have this set to ohms, right? Let's just make sure continuity is good. Read 0, perfect. So what you want to do is have your float at empty. You want to put, I don't know if you can see that, one lead on the actual lead, and then the other on just the frame of the sending unit somewhere. So you should be seeing 70 to 80, somewhere in there when it's empty, and it's reading 74, 75 ohms. And then what we're gonna do here is put that as if it was full, and it should be reading, I think, 7 to 10, somewhere in there. We're right at 9, so 8, 9, cool. So that tells me is 1, I need new leads for my multimeter, and then 2, that this is operating and reading correctly. So what we're gonna do is we'll take the lock nut, and it has a little gasket on here, toss this on the tank. I'll show you how to do that, and then we'll get the tank in the car. All right, so for the parts and pieces, obviously got your tank. It's upside down right now. If there were gas in here or it was a used tank, you'd use a brass punch, but I'm gonna use a screwdriver since it's all brand new. You need a hammer, sending unit, you need locking ring and gasket. Put some gloves on because as mentioned previously, it's hot out and this thing got hot. So you want to put your gasket right around there on the outside of those tabs, and then you want to gently feed your sending unit into the tank like so. Those little tabs that I talked about, they go into that slot and that slot right there. Come on. Get on the outside, there we go. All right, cool. So now that is in, you now have the locking ring. Flat on one side, angles and whatnot on the other side. Flat side goes in and gets pushed behind these little tabs right here. And that's what actually locks it into place. All right, couple minutes and only a couple swear words later, we got that in. So you want your filler tube to be facing up, not down. All right, remember, this is the bottom of the tank. Cool, next up is to try not to burn myself and get this in the car over here. So let's remove this rag out of the way. Let's do this. Good thing it's light. It comes on over here. Maybe if I put it in the proper way. It falls right in there. And then literally just line up the holes. Look at that. We have a gas tank. Cool. Now what I'm going to do is I have a kit with screws. I'm going to toss some screws in the holes to hold this into place, then we'll get the filler neck and whatnot put in. Next up, filler tube connecting to the gas tank. So your filler tube goes in the back of the car right there. But what you want to do here is take your gasket, you're going to feed it over that, and it lines up with the holes right there. Stick that through the hole right there. Then you want to take your fancy dancy pre-cut little rubber hose. I only had one, what's this called? Hose clamp? There we go. My words work today. I only had one hose clamp that was big enough, but I did have two that were about the same size and just combined them to make it fit. Not the prettiest thing, but you know what? It friggin' works, and that's all that matters. So what I'm gonna do here, we're gonna stick this onto the actual filler itself, stick it down there, and ease it onto the tank. And then on the back side here, right, you can see the hole right there in the filler tube, hole in the gasket, hole in the car. So the tube needs to rotate slightly to the left. That way it's nice and vertical like. Cool. And then what we're gonna do is we will take these screws that come in this handy dandy kit. Use my handy dandy favorite little tool. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to start all of these. I'm just gonna start them, right? Just get it working. And then we'll do a star pattern because reasons. So I guess so it pulls it on evenly. One of these holes, I think it's the bottom right one, is where the actual filler cap connects to. So we're not going to put a screw in there because that's where the filler cap goes. This is the nut that I was talking about, or the bolt nut, whatever. It's going to go right through that hole right there. Feed it in there. Come on, come on, you can do it. You can do it. Make sure it is in fact the right one. Come on. Oh, you know what? I'm an idiot. I tightened these down prematurely. There we go. A little bit looser, so let's get this thing in there. All right, there we go. I'm gonna toss the nut on the back side here. So the nut, get light, is right back there. So that's what actually holds your gas cap on. That nut's kind of a nightmare to get to, but got that in. Go ahead and tighten these down. And now, theoretically, it's a little crooked. That's all right, so am I. So I just need to tighten that down in a second. And then what we'll do is we'll make sure the hose is seated all the way. Push that all the way down. There we go. And now we'll get that nice and tight. Tight like a toiga. Is that the second time I've made that stupid joke? Probably. So, all right, long story short, we'll get this tightened, and that's how you install a gas tank. And then what I'll need to do is crimp a connector onto the end of my fuel sending wire, connect that to the post that is on the sending unit, and that's it. And then she's done. Well, other than getting the fuel line hooked up, but I don't have anything to hook the fuel line up to, so kind of not necessary right now. All right, that's all she wrote, folks. Pretty straightforward video. Installing a gas tank in one of these cars is quite easy. You know, got a nice little bit of squeeze out of some of that strip caulk, which just shows that, hey, it is in fact sealed. We're not going to get a whole bunch of water and grime and all that stuff coming up into the trunk. Got the hose clamps tightened down. Fuel cap works as it should. Boom, there we go. Probably could use a little cleanup, but that's fine. But yeah, like I said, I just need to connect that wire to the sending unit up underneath the car, which is putting a ring connector on and tightening it up. But anyway, appreciate y'all coming on. Like, comment, subscribe, etc., etc. That's how you install a gas tank in a 65 or 66 Mustang.